What would you do if you saw a homeless teenager walking alone on a freezing night with nowhere to go? Most people might feel sympathy. Some might offer help, but very few would completely change that person's life. Today's film tells the remarkable story behind one of the most inspiring sports dramas ever made, The Blind Side. It's based on real events. This movie follows Michael Oher, a struggling teenager whose life changes forever after he meets a family willing to see potential where everyone else sees problems. But this isn't just a football movie. It's a story about family, opportunity, trust, and how one act of kindness can alter the course of someone's future. Let's dive into the story. In the film, we are introduced to Michael Oher, a quiet teenager living in Memphis. Michael has experienced hardships most people can barely imagine. His childhood has been marked by poverty, instability, and neglect. Because of these circumstances, he drifts from place to place, rarely having a permanent home. At school, Michael struggles academically. Teachers see a student who appears disconnected and uninterested. Classmates barely notice him. Many people have already formed assumptions about who he is and what his future will look like. But beneath the surface lies something different. Michael is incredibly kind. And when he was joining this school, he scored 98% in protective instincts. He's protective. He's observant. And despite everything life has thrown at him, he remains gentle. The tragedy is that almost nobody takes the time to discover who he really is. But all this changes when we meet Leanne Troy. Leanne is successful, confident, and outspoken. She lives with her husband, Sean, and their two children in a comfortable neighborhood. At first glance, the Troys and Michael seem to come from completely different worlds. One evening, Leanne notices Michael walking alone in the cold. He has no jacket, no destination, no place to stay. Most people would keep driving. Leanne doesn't. She stops. She asks him where he's going. When she realizes he has nowhere to sleep, she makes a decision that will change both their lives. She invites him in her home. It's a simple act, but it's also the turning point of the entire story. Michael is uncomfortable at first. He isn't used to kindness without conditions. He spent much of his life surviving on his own. Now, he's suddenly surrounded by people offering food, safety, and support. The Troy family doesn't immediately become his family overnight. Trust takes time. Michael struggles to believe that these people genuinely care about him. But slowly, the walls begin to come down. Sean welcomes him. The children treat him like a brother. And Leanne becomes one of the strongest advocates Michael has ever had. One of the movie's most powerful ideas is that transformation doesn't happen because someone receives charity. It happens because someone finally feels valued. For perhaps the first time in his life, Michael begins experiencing stability. He had his own bed for the first time, and stability changes everything. As Michael settles into school, it becomes clear that he possesses remarkable athletic abilities. His size and strength naturally attract attention from football coaches. Yet there is a problem. Michael doesn't fully understand the game. He has the physical tools, but he lacks confidence and experience. The coach who vouched for him to join the school because of his ability, when he joined the team finally, Michael did not fully understand the game. He has the physical tools but lacks confidence and experience. This frustrated the coach. He could see talent but struggled to connect with him. Then Leanne notices something important about Michael's personality. His greatest strength isn't aggression, it's protection. Michael naturally wants to keep people safe, especially the people he cares about. Leanne explains to Michael that every time he protects his team, it's like protecting her or his brother. Once she explains the football in those terms, everything changes. Instead of viewing opponents as enemies, he sees his role as protecting his teammates. Suddenly, the game starts making sense, and Michael begins improving rapidly. One of the most meaningful parts of the film is watching the relationship between Michael and the Troy children. They don't see him as a project, they see him as family. His bond with young CJ is especially memorable. CJ becomes one of Michael's biggest supporters. He at one point even gave himself the job to train Michael as his private trainer so he can catch up with the nuances of the game. Their friendship creates many of the film's lighter and more humorous moments. At the same time, Michael's relationship with Leanne grows stronger. She pushes him, encourages him, defends him, and refuses to let him settle for less than his potential. The movie argues that family isn't defined solely by biology. Sometimes family is built through commitment, loyalty, and love. Football alone isn't enough. To qualify for college opportunities, scholarships in college, Michael must improve academically. This becomes another major obstacle that he had to overcome. Years of educational instability have left him behind. Teachers and tutors work with him extensively. The process is slow. They get setbacks, moments of frustration, moments when success seems impossible, but Michael keeps moving forward. Leanne hired a private tutor to help tutor Michael so he can catch up with his school to be in line for scholarships in college. The film emphasizes persistence rather than instant success. Progress happens one step at a time. Eventually, his grades begin improving. And with every improvement, new opportunities emerge. As Michael's football reputation grows, major college programs begin recruiting him. Coaches from across the country compete for his attention. He had to sit through coaches pitching him to join their college so that he can play for their team for a scholarship. This section highlights the pressure that comes with sudden success. People who once ignored Michael are now eager to be part of his future. The recruitment process becomes increasingly complicated. Questions arise about influence, motivation, and loyalty. Michael finds himself caught between competing expectations. For someone who spent years feeling invisible, the attention can be overwhelming. The challenge now is deciding what path is truly right for him. One of the film's strongest dramatic sections occurs when Michael begins questioning his own achievements. Did he earn these opportunities himself? Or are people simply helping him because of the Troy family's influence? These doubts strike at the core of his confidence. For much of his life, others defined him. Now he must define himself. The movie wisely recognizes that success isn't just about external accomplishments. It's also about self-belief. Michael had a great challenge, and his challenge isn't football. It's learning to trust his own worth. As the story approaches its conclusion, Michael confronts the questions surrounding his future. He reflects on everything, his experiences, struggles, opportunities, the people who believed in him. Most importantly, he realizes that the achievements are his own. Others may have opened doors, but he walked through them. Others may have supported him, but he put in the work. This realization allows him to move forward with confidence. The Blind Side resonates because it explores universal themes. The first is opportunity. Talent exists everywhere, but opportunity does not. The film asks viewers to consider how many people never receive the support they need to reach their potential. Another theme is perception. Many characters initially judge Michael based on appearances. Only later do they discover his intelligence, kindness, and determination. The movie also explores belonging. Michael spends much of his life searching for a place where he fits. The Troys provide more than shelter. They provide acceptance. And finally, the film emphasizes compassion. One decision to help another person creates a ripple effect that changes countless lives.